What makes someone a protected person in IHL? Imagine being caught in a conflict where your safety and dignity are supposed to be guaranteed, no matter what. That's the core idea behind protected persons in international humanitarian law. When wars happen, many individuals find themselves vulnerable, and laws are in place to shield them from harm. These protections are part of the Geneva Conventions and their additional protocols, which are international treaties that set the rules for how people should be treated during war. A protected person is someone who, during an armed conflict, is entitled to special legal protections. These protections are meant to ensure humane treatment, respect for their dignity, and safety. The main sources of these protections are the Geneva Conventions of 1949 and the two additional protocols of 1977. These treaties clearly define who qualifies as a protected person and what rights they have. Whether someone is protected depends on several factors. First, the type of conflict matters. In international armed conflicts, protected persons are usually civilians who are not nationals of the party holding them. For example, if a civilian from France is detained by German forces during a war, that person is considered a protected person under the Fourth Geneva Convention. But if a German civilian is detained by German forces, they are not protected because their own government can provide protection. Protected persons include civilians, wounded soldiers, prisoners of war, shipwrecked sailors, medical personnel, and religious workers. Each group has specific protections under different parts of the Geneva Conventions. For civilians, the key point is that they are not nationals of the state holding them. So, a civilian from one country detained by the enemy is protected, but a citizen of the detaining country is not. The protections include the right to be treated humanely, to have their family rights respected, and to practice their religion and customs. They must not be subjected to violence, threats, insults, or public curiosity. Women receive special protections against attacks on their honor, including sexual violence. All protected persons must be treated equally, regardless of race, religion, or political beliefs. In occupied territories, civilians who are not nationals of the occupying power are also protected persons. The occupying authority must ensure their safety, provide for their basic needs, and allow them to communicate with their families and humanitarian groups. These protections are in place at all times, even if the protected person is suspected of hostile acts. They must still be treated humanely and cannot be punished without a fair trial. In non-international conflicts like civil wars, protections are slightly different but still strong. The additional protocols extend many of the same rights to civilians and other vulnerable groups, even if they do not meet the strict definition of protected persons under the Geneva Conventions. This helps ensure that all civilians and those not taking part in fighting are shielded from violence and abuse. To sum up, someone becomes a protected person in international humanitarian law when they are in a situation of armed conflict and meet the criteria set out in the Geneva Conventions and their additional protocols. Their nationality, their role during the conflict, and whether they are in the hands of a party to the conflict, they are not a national of all play a part. These laws are designed to safeguard their lives, dignity, and basic rights during war times.